Good morning. It's a great pleasure for me to be able to have this opportunity to represent the European Economic and Social Committee in this AMET forum. It's really a disappointment that I couldn't be personally with you in this beautiful setting. However, it's really the 2 days in which we are holding our plenary session, and therefore I am obliged to remain within Brussels. However, you're discussing a very important subject, something which is very close to the heart of the ESC, because the ESC really supports the digital agenda in terms of one of the pillars of Europe 2020. And really, the ESC fully supports Vice President Kroes's ambition to have every single European digital. However, to achieve this, we need to strike a balance between the economic aspects of being digital and also the social aspects. And really striking balance is something the ESC has always sought to. Why? Because we are 344 members coming from 27 member states, and we get together to discuss and reach compromises on very topical issues. In terms of the digital agenda, we have during the last few years expressed ourselves on different areas within this subject matter, and therefore have quite clear positions agreed upon amongst employers' organizations in Europe, trade unions and worker representatives within Europe, and also NGOs and specific interest organizations. But really, as I said, it is striking the balance between having the economical aspects, but also the social aspects. And yes, the digital agenda does offer ample business opportunities. If one were to think just about the single market, the internal single market, being digital also gives greater opportunities for entrepreneurship and for small and medium enterprises to really develop their business model further. I do come from an island, and you might say, but what has an island got to do with mountainous regions, because you are all from mountainous regions, where there are a number of things which are common. But the first basic fundamental common thing is the fact that these regions are made up first and foremost of the people. Secondly, you have a number of challenges, but also a number of benefits which are derived from both regions. The benefits, one can say, is that these regions generally offer beautiful settings which are very much sought after by people from urban areas. In fact, we do have a number of displacements coming to mountainous regions and also island regions. But we do have challenges. Also, the challenges, one would say, is the fact that often we are cut off. So our geographical location makes it difficult in terms of infrastructure, for energy, for transport, for ICT and broadband. It also is a challenge in terms of demographies, where we know there is a changing demography. But also challenges for our economic industry, where you have different industries, but often they tend to be seasonal, such as tourism, such as fishing or farming. However, when it comes to the digital agenda, the one big challenge is actually having the infrastructure reach everyone, reach every area. And this is when we say every European digital, it means nobody is excluded, irrespective of which part of Europe this person is in, be it an island, be it a mountainous region, be it a very rural region. And for this reason, the ESC advocates that there should be proper programs to ensure that the infrastructure reaches all Europe. We advocate that this can be done through private-public partnerships. But it's very important that for them there to be an economic interest to reach every single area, we definitely need to ensure that there is also public support, and therefore we do ask for having public funding in ensuring that the infrastructure reaches all Europe. Currently, unfortunately, we know 20% of European households do not have access for broadband internet, and unfortunately this is in the most rural areas. But also in terms of business, we know that the ICT, that the digital world, will be offering also more jobs. The digital world has eliminated some jobs, but we know for every one job that has been eliminated, 2.3 jobs have been created. And we also know that in the few years to come, 9 out of every 10 jobs requires for somebody to be digitally literate. So e-skilling is very important. E-skilling does not mean to be able to use a computer, but also to be confident in the equipment one has, to be able to also critically assess whatever content is available in the digital world. But even in terms of entrepreneurship, e-skilling is very important, because what we see at this point in time is that we don't have enough people really making the full use of the potential the digital world can give entrepreneurs, but rather a very high exploitation of the digital world in terms of leisure, for pleasure reasons, for personal reasons, but not necessarily for reasons of personal economic growth. So in terms of e-skilling, you have both the economic aspect and the social aspect, which go hand in hand, whereby we need to have more e-skilling for better jobs, better sustainable jobs, and because the job market requires it, but also in terms of our entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs really being able to identify how to, I would say, exploit the internet for also personal development, but economical gains. But there again, all this fits into the scenario of a digital single internal market. And for a digital single internal market to really succeed, we need to have a number of factors in place. The first most fundamental thing is trust. Having trust to be able to use the digital world for personal purchases, for personal reasons of commerce, but also as an SME or as an entrepreneur or as somebody who has a startup, of using the internet for economic gains. So this is one of the things the EESC puts a lot of emphasis on. What can be done in terms of legislation, in terms of self-regulation, but also in terms of education, in ensuring that there is this trust. Another aspect is then how much the digital world is being used by public service itself, because we know public service needs to be the one who sets examples. So e-procurement is particularly important, but also then in facilitating all the procurement aspects to make sure that it is worth the while for an SME to also be digital. So here we're speaking about e-signatures, for example, e-invoicing, e-ID, but also recognition of these aspects cross-border. So the digital world does offer opportunities. We know that in this time of crisis, it is one of the industries which has the potential for growth. Even if we were to look at aspects such as health, tourism, industries which are growing, but these are also industries which can be supplemented by ICT, by the digital world, to exploit even further and to bring about exponential growth. Therefore, it is in this time that we should be thinking more of how to ensure and how to facilitate that this digital world can be truly used. And this is why also as an EESC we put a lot of emphasis on the freeing of the spectrum. So it was the move from analog television to digital television. But now that the spectrum has been freed, are we truly being utilizing the space for the benefit of SMEs and the benefit of industry and the benefit of the individual socially, to be able to then really make full use of the digital world. I know you are amongst representatives from these different regions. You have been speaking about the potential of the digital agenda for this region, the difficulties of the digital agenda. There's so much more that can be said, but little time, and I know you will be covering a lot of the subjects yourself. However, from my point of view, I thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to just very briefly express some of the opportunities, but also some of the concerns we as the European Economic and Social Committee have. From our point of view, we will continue supporting the endeavors of the digital agenda. Personally, I am available, even if I'm not there physically, to be in touch with you via email or via the social media, so please do not hesitate to get in touch with me if you need further clarification or further discussion, and I look forward to receiving the outcomes of this forum. Best of luck to everyone.